I'm Shannon Martin. Tonight, spring is in the air, and so are signs Toronto's real estate market is coming back to life.
Seeing 10, 20 offers on properties. The realtors are holding back offers like we were prior, hoping to bid up, and they're being successful. They're getting their offers.
The Bank of Canada is set to make its next interest rate announcement in just days. We'll hear from the experts and take a look at the latest data. Plus,
52% of individuals who come to food banks have a post-secondary education. They went to school, they got a job, and now they are still having to be dependent on food charity.
as the need reaches crisis levels, Canada's largest food bank is buckling under increased demand. And
Stratford does such a great job at everything they do that just to be here is excitement.
the curtain rises at Stratford Festival. We're there for all the excitement at opening weekend as the town recovers after a challenging few seasons. Hello, thanks for joining us. If you've been tracking the GTA's housing market, you know it's been slow, but new data suggests things might be picking up this spring. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board says home sales and prices started climbing again. Tyler Cheese has more on the numbers. He also looks ahead to next week's interest rate announcement.
Real estate experts say the competition between home buyers is starting to heat up again after a months-long lull in the housing market.
We're seeing 10, 20 offers on properties. The realtors are holding back offers like we were prior, hoping to bid up, and they're being successful. They're getting their offers.
He says the change is due to a number of factors, including a Bank of Canada interest rate pause and more people moving into the GTA.
What we're seeing is buyer confidence and people are coming back out.
Earlier this week, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board reported home sales in the GTA had risen to just under 7,000. That's the highest number of sales seen since last May, and experts say that may indicate the market is picking back up. The report also says sale prices have risen modestly in the past few months, but supply still remains an issue.
Our goal remains to the one that I've committed to last summer, to get 1.5 million homes built by 2031.
The province proposed new legislation this week to help tackle the supply problem. If passed, it will grant new powers to municipalities, allowing them to expand their settlement boundaries.
It would give municipalities more flexibility, reduce duplication, create more homes in urban and rural communities, support local economies, and create jobs.
But critics aren't so sure.
I fear that will pave the way for more sprawl to be built on farmland. And this is concerning because farming is one of Ontario's most productive and important sectors.
The Bank of Canada is also expected to make a new interest rate announcement on Wednesday this week, but experts say there likely won't be anything to worry about.
It looks like, we've gone through the rate rise, which was very aggressive and very, very quickly, by the way, very, very quick. We're looking for the pause now, and at the backside of the year, probably into next year, we're probably going to be into the rate cutting.
Joshin also expects the interest rate pause to hold, but
if they raise the price, the interest rates, it's going to create this uncertainty, and then perhaps supply outweighs demand.
Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Meantime, one of Canada's largest food banks says it is at a breaking point. The Daily Bread Food Bank in Toronto says client visits are at an all-time high. Ithel Musa spent the day there with volunteers packing food for families facing hunger this long weekend.
These volunteers at the Daily Bread Food Bank warehouse in Toronto are spending part of their Easter weekend packing up food boxes. They'll soon be delivered to food banks across the city to help keep them stocked. The organization says the need is greater than ever, and it's only getting worse.
52% of individuals who come to food banks have a post-secondary education. They went to school, they got a job, and now they are still having to be dependent on food charity.
Spirit Petioni says rising food prices and the high cost of rent has forced them to turn to food banks for help, and they're not alone.
I make use of the food bank possibly once a month. The price of food is just quite ridiculous, especially since I'm on government assistance.
The Daily Bread Food Bank says they had more visits last month than at any other time in the charity's 40-year history. It's not the only organization helping vulnerable Canadians that's seeing an increased need.
People are phoning us and saying they can't afford to eat.
Meals on Wheels says high food prices and the end of government COVID subsidies has quadrupled the cost of the hot meals the organization delivers to the needy.
We're disappointed in the response of our funders that they're not taking inflation into account, and they're essentially dropping these clients at a time of great need.
The federal government has introduced a new one-time grocery rebate for low-income earners. It says that will help put up to an extra $467 into the pockets of a family of 4 and up to $234 for a single person. But the Daily Bread Food Bank says more needs to be done to help those struggling to put food on the table. They want to see people on social assistance receive an extra emergency top-up tied to food inflation to better cope with the high cost of groceries. Idil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
It's tax season, and this next story might be concerning if you haven't filed yet. 35,000 unionized Canada Revenue Agency workers have voted in favor for strike action ahead of mediation talks later this month. The bargaining unit finished voting yesterday to authorize a strike. Workers will be in a legal strike position starting April 14th. That's just weeks before the May 1st deadline for filing tax returns. The union is calling for wage increases, flexibility for remote work, and improved job security. They have been without a contract now for a year and a half. Well, more trouble for a luxury spa company. Group Nordic is now warning customers about a major data breach involving gift cards. In an email to customers, the spa says, quote, an event occurred with its gift certificate system and that may have resulted in the access of personal information of people who purchased gift cards from November 4th, 2022 to February 27th. Now, Nordic Spa says the affected information includes the customer's full name, phone number, street address, email address, and credit card information. The company is contacting all clients whose information was potentially exposed. Now, this is the same company that had to shut down its spa in Whitby last year after guests reported infections just days after opening. Well, turning now to the latest in the aftermath of a late but powerful winter storm, health officials in Montreal say more than 130 people are being treated for carbon monoxide poisoning. It's believed many had been using generators or barbecues inside to stay warm. Meantime, big cleanup effort continues. Rowan Kennedy is in Montreal with the latest.
After 3 days without power, the clock is ticking for these blooming flowers. The co-owner of Fig Fleur expected a busy Easter weekend in the Pointe Claire village.
If we don't sell these products, it goes in the garbage. And we're talking boxes and boxes of fresh cut flowers from all over.
Power came back while CBC was visiting. Now Valet hopes customers will come back too. Out of more than 1 million customers that lost power, Hydro-Quebec aims to restore power to 95% of them by day's end tomorrow.
The bulk part of our distribution system has been restored.
But the utility says some households may only get power back on Monday.
They're now in a surgery mode of reacting to the crisis.
Road access is a major issue in Montreal as branches litter the streets, and there are security concerns as city crews continue the cleanup.
We still have more than 500 crews on the ground. That means more than 1,000 employees grabbing the trees, the branches.
The West Island of Montreal is the hardest hit area for outages. This library in Pierrefonds-Roxborough is helping hundreds who still don't have power.
I have some work to do, so I came here so I can use the internet.
I warm up a bit, charge up my phone to 100%.
More than 70 shelters like this have opened across the province. 4 are in this borough alone.
In Pierrefonds-Roxborough, I still have over 60% of the homes that don't have power just in Pierrefonds-Roxborough alone. So that is a major concern.
Randa Abdouche got her power back this afternoon, but says she has to throw out more than $1,000 worth of food.
There's another deep freezer downstairs, which also full of meat.
As hydro crews continue their blitz, grocery stores can open exceptionally on Easter Sunday in 6 regions of Quebec for those who need to restock. Rowan Kennedy, CBC News, Montreal.
Big cleanup job there. Yeah, I don't know if you can see my script, but it says Sophia's back with about 12 exclamation points. She's been away for a few weekends. We're so happy to have you back with us. And there's lots for you to be tracking tonight still with the storm.
Tracking the active weather with my return and the onslaught of some nice weather to come for many of you in the Great Lakes Basin as well. But thank you for the warm welcome. You will have some warmer temperatures in the way for those of you in parts of southern Quebec as well as that cleanup continues. But we're not really getting much in the way of cloud cover. So that lid has been taken off the pot. It will still be very chilly into the overnight period. And it wasn't just the ice that was really potent with this storm. It was also the winds that were incredibly gusty and caused much of that damage. Luckily, though, the onslaught of spring comes in on Sunday. Really, well, spring-like weather, I should add that too. Lots of sunshine, which will help with that melt that is well underway. Still a little chilly into the overnight period for us here in parts of southern Ontario in the GTA, but I am bringing you an excellent forecast if you want to hop to any of the egg hunts on Sunday morning. Maybe even enough sun to melt some of that chocolate that is exposed on the lawn or in the parks. It is just the beginning of what I am about to say is ushering in patio weather. Shannon, the first 20-degree days for the GTA and real late May and early June-like temperatures ahead to come to follow what we've already had with the first 20-degree day in Windsor this past week. So I'll tell you all the lovely sunny details for the rest of this work week when we return.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. See you soon.
You're welcome.
The Leafs taking on Montreal tonight at Scotiabank Arena. Both teams hosted their annual Pride celebrations earlier this week. The Leafs wearing Pride decals on their helmets and had Pride tape on their sticks. NHL teams have been hosting Pride nights for several years now. This year, though, some individual players declined to wear Pride warm-up jerseys, and some teams altogether also opted out of wearing them, sparking conversations about inclusion in the sport. Well, to talk more about this, we've reached Harrison Brown. He was the first out transgender national hockey player in Canada and is now an LGBTQ+ advocate. Thanks so much for being here, Harrison.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's just start with your reaction to what we've been seeing this NHL season when it comes to Pride nights.
Yeah, I think this year has been quite the year for Pride nights. It's been pretty disappointing to see players come forward and just not really welcoming the LGBTQ+ community, not wanting to celebrate us and welcome us into the arenas. It's been really tough to see. It's been really tough to watch.
Yeah, you know, and if you are a member of the LGBTQ+ community, can you talk to us? What is the impact? Does it change someone's feelings towards the sport when you see this happening?
Yeah, for sure. I think hockey's been trying to do, like, especially with the NHL, has been trying to do a lot of initiatives to make the sport reach a wide variety of people. I think with the Hockey is for Everyone initiative, it's really hard to stand behind that messaging when players are coming forward and saying, we don't support you. I guess hockey isn't for you if we're not going to support you and wear this jersey.
Let's talk about some of the reasons, and I'm thinking about the Chicago Blackhawks, for example. The team said out of security for their Russian players, the team would not wear warm-up Pride jerseys, even though they have in the past. And other players have cited religious reasons. What do you make of all of that?
For the players that are citing religion, it just feels like it's cherry picking in a way. I think if we're coming out and we're seeing people citing religion for this year, like I think when we see the Stahl brothers, specifically Eric Stahl, saying that wearing a Pride jersey, it doesn't go with his values. But he's worn a Pride jersey in the past. There's been pictures of him wearing it when he was at the Montreal Canadiens for their Pride night. So it's just disappointing to see people really backtracking on their support and what they stand for. But I think we're seeing a lot of people kind of poking holes into that argument.
And I know you've talked about finding silver linings. So when you think about next season, what would you like to see? What can the NHL do better?
I think this year it's a huge learning opportunity for everybody. Like the best thing that I've seen coming out of this is that there's a lot of conversations that are being sparked. A lot of organizations are bringing in people to talk about diversity and inclusion. I think with the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're seeing them bring in Megan Duggan and talk about her experience. Because I think if teams really want to come out and say that they support the LGBTQ community or any other type of minority, I think we have to see education come down to the players, to the front office, to the personnel, for people to really understand what the meaning of these nights are, these meanings of maybe a whole month mean to the different types of communities. So I think we're going to see a lot of really intentional education, and that's what I hope to see in the next stages of the NHL for their Hockey is for Everyone initiatives.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for sharing your insight with us and taking time to speak with us on this long weekend. That's Harrison Brown. He is an LGBTQ+ advocate in Toronto. The Ranger Cup is back on in the GTA. It's a hockey tournament all in support of Indigenous youth within communities patrolled by Canadian Rangers.
The primary purpose is morale for ourselves and for our soldiers, and to give them something interesting to do, another reason to be part of the regiment, part of the Canadian Armed Forces. But then we also want them to think about their communities. So this weekend, we are collecting and then donating used hockey equipment, which will find its way up into northern communities.
Canadian Rangers provide a presence in Indigenous communities ready to respond to emergency situations and domestic operations. 7 teams from Brampton, Toronto, and other regions in the GTA are playing. Welcome back. A new season of the Stratford Festival is officially underway. Our Clara Pasica was there for all the excitement as the town welcomes back visitors, hoping for a big boost in business.
The 2023 season is kicking off with a sold-out crowd at the Festival Theatre for this afternoon's production of Rent.
Quite excited. I know some people that are in the cast, which is great. I've always loved coming to see the Stratford shows. They're always so well done.
First showing, we get to spoil it to the other people who want to see it.
Stratford does such a great job at everything they do that just to be here is excitement.
For director Tom Allison, who was in the first Canadian production of Rent nearly 3 decades ago, this one is special in different ways.
And then also with a young cast. Of course, it's always these young people who are a new generation, who are distanced from the era and the moment in time, and watching them discover as we talk to professionals and talk to experts, talk to AIDS survivors, and understand what the love is in the show, what it does, the cost that it had, the bravery to love someone in that moment.
It's one of 13 shows that will make up the season. The festival is hoping to welcome more than 400,000 visitors, bringing with them more than just a passion for the stage.
Once we get into the season, you fill the restaurants prior to each show. And that makes a huge difference to us because we're generally, we'll have people who are local or in the region come in, and it would be sort of across the entire evening. But you get a mad crush of people in the before the 2 o'clock performance and a mad crush of people before the 8 o'clock performance. So we're really excited to have that energy back here and hope it's going to be a great season.
Business that's really needed after a tough few years during the pandemic. The 2020 season was canceled altogether. There were border closures, then reduced capacity and programming in 2021 and 2022. Now, there don't look to be 525,600 tickets left for this production of Rent, but there are still a few to be snagged between now and when the show closes in October, something the festival and the town hope you'll do. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Stratford.
A small organization with a big mission, a mom and her son are raising awareness and advocating for BIPOC youth with intellectual or developmental disabilities. It all started after the boy was excluded at school for being Black and autistic.
Helping other young people not have to go through what he has had to go through, the bullying, the exclusion, it really has a negative impact on mental health and well-being. And so a lot of the youth that are within our core and our community at large really want to make sure that the experiences that they've had are not repeated.
The Youth Alliance for Intersectional Justice hosted a conference today to celebrate International Autism Month. The Community Conversations Conference connects educators with the community to learn about anti-ableism. Speakers also talked about the lack of Black representation in autism education. Well, after 44 years on CBC's The Nature of Things, David Suzuki is signing off.
Before I say my final farewell and disappear into the oblivion, there are people that I would like to thank and acknowledge.
The Nature of Things is Canadian TV's longest-running science series. Suzuki started hosting in 1979. The show goes on with 2 new co-hosts, including his daughter, Sarika. How cool is that? End of an era. Time for a short break for us. Sophia is back with your full forecast. Sophia is back with her excellent forecast and all the pun. Hey,
a woman of my own heart.
That's all I can do. You do the rest.
I'm all ears for anything else you
Pun
got,
queen.
Shannon.
Yeah, no, that's all I can do.
We are excited for all the fun that Easter has in store. We are also excited to bring you a really, really wonderful forecast for not only the Easter long weekend, but also this upcoming work week. I will call it right here, folks. The start of patio weather will be with us this upcoming work week, and 20-degree warmth, late May, even early June-like temperatures. The egg hunt forecast for all of you waiting with bated breath. Yeah, the bunny will be very, very happy. At the freezing mark, though, so you still want to be bundled up. The light jackets and the sweaters will be needed, but there will be brilliant sunshine, and sunshine will be a thing to be plentiful of this upcoming work week. We almost hit the double digits on Sunday afternoon. It is the start of that real spring-like warmth. Multiple days, count them, 3, above 20 degrees. And that's not even some of the places inland and to the south that will be even warmer. We also have looked at this 7-day forecast and said this is one of the driest and sunniest 7-day forecasts that we have seen in quite a while. We actually ran through the rain models and there's nothing. Zilch for the next 7 days, the driest 7-day stretch since September of 2022. That is a record I like to hang my hat on. Even warmer for some of you, as we mentioned, to the south and to the southwest, which will have multiple days, Shannon, feeling into the mid-20s. So just a glorious time to, again, be on those patios. We will have a close eye on all the daily records to see if maybe any of them can fall by the wayside, but it's a tall order to reach 25 or 27. But hey, we'll take the low 20s. They creep in on Tuesday, but still a little bit of cloud cover. Wednesday and Thursday are the days to beat that real peak of that big ridge that is setting up shop above us. But the warmth will be with us until the weekend when we see each other again, Shannon. And until then, I gotta wish you and the kids a really happy Easter. I know you've been baking all the Easter cookies. One last little heartbreaking note, though, about all of this warmth, Shannon. If you're anywhere near the lake shores, you're going to be struggling to get those 20s because those lakes are really acting like ice cubes this time of year.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're going to take the mid-20s, the sunshine, the patio weather. That is
Even
amazing.
if it means a jacket by the lake shores. Enjoy your egg hunt.
Okay. Thanks, Sophia. We'll see you tomorrow night. That is our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Before we go, we want to take you out to Etobicoke, where the winter stations from the beaches are getting a second go. The Spring Stations exhibit is on now until May 5th at the Sir Casimir Zowski Park. We'll see you again tomorrow night.